Jared, you've been muted again.
All right, guys, we're live. Thank you for joining us. This is the Indian Leaders, a conversation on being Native American and Black. And I will turn it over to Terrence Littlejohn.
Jared, you've been muted again.
Well, I'd like to welcome everybody to this Black History Month event. It's a conversation of being Black and Native American. It's put on by the Haskell Indian Leader. My name is Terrence Littlejohn.
Thank you for joining us. This is the Indian Leaders, a conversation.
Okay, I'm confused. I was flowing. But yeah, my name is Terrence Littlejohn. I'm an enrolled member of the Cheyenne Arapaho tribe of Oklahoma, but I'm also Eastern Band Cherokee, Samoan, and African American, well, Jamaican descent. Sorry, hold on. But I'd like to, for you guys to meet our panelists. I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and when they attended Haskell.
I'll start. My name is Russell Parker. I'm Salish Kootenai, Flathead Reservation, Montana. I was at Haskell fall 2019 to spring 2020.
Rio Whiteside. I am Narragansett Indian. I attended Haskell from 2016 to spring of 2020. Also Mexican and Scottish as well.
I'm Keaton Guess. I'm Choctaw and Cherokee Nation down in Oklahoma, and I attended Haskell back from spring 2011 up to 2017.
Do you want us to talk about our majors too, or?
If you want to, and what you're doing now, if you continue your education, or.
Right now, I'm just happy to have a job because COVID was a mess. But I graduated in the spring of 2020 with my environmental science degree from Haskell, and I currently work at the Navy Exchange as a sales clerk.
I got my bachelor's in American Indian Studies with emphasis on social work and social welfare. Currently now I'm teaching 7th grade social studies over at the middle school around here, Todd County. And I'm still continuing my education, trying to get certified as a teacher. So still continuing
that. Because I am a Black Indian, I am now at Bacone College versus being at Haskell. We'll talk about that later, but I am doing sport management.
Also, I graduated from Haskell Indian Nations with my bachelor's in American Indian Studies. I also finished my master's at Southeastern Oklahoma State in Native American Leadership. I did a couple of semesters at Arizona State University for my PhD in history, but I just recently transferred to Liberty University in Lynchburg, Virginia. And I should be done this fall with my PhD in history. So, but if y'all ready, we can go ahead and get into these questions. First question, what was your experience like attending Haskell?
Okay, I'll go first. My experience was a little different because I didn't come in as a freshman. I came as a transfer student, and it's kind of like they don't know what to do with transfer students sometimes. Like their focus is mainly on the freshman students. But then it was like I was a student, then I became an employee. So that made my experience like a whole nother thing because you're trying to find this weird in between being a student and also being an employee, but you're not a full employee. So you're trying to figure out how to navigate that world too. But overall, I mean, I wouldn't change my experience at Haskell for the world.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it was like a roller coaster. You're always gonna have your good, your bad. I mean, Haskell's where I found, my identity. You kind of figured out who I was or where I was taking those steps in life. I got to get work for some good people. I also was a student worker there. I think I got in there as a freshman, so it was a little bit different for me. I had to come in with other freshmen who had to redo, that whole orientation experience and that kind of stuff together. And all that get to know you kind of thing. Versus, I've seen it for transfer students. It is a different route. It is a little bit harder. They are just kind of thrown in there with little to no guidance.
That's one of the reasons I became an ambassador, is because of the treatment that we had as transfer students, because I wanted to make the transition period a little easier.
And I think that's why, a lot of us got into those leadership kind of roles too, that we ended up with there, because to make a change, we've seen some things that were not going good there. So we needed to make a change, not just for us, but just for the next person coming in. So yeah, my experience, like I said, up and down, good to bad.
I came in as a transfer student, and it was interesting because as Haskell's is government, there seemed to be a percentage of people who did their job because they were passionate about their work, and then there were a percentage of people who treated it like the DMV. So it was like a hurry up and wait process for a number of things. So, and again, as a transfer, there wasn't a lot of guidance. You just kind of had to figure it out for yourself. So it made it kind of desolate in a sense to get acclimated.
I noticed too that some of the employees, like, they started out all like with a hope and they were great, and then towards the end, or you notice that they changed because they were tired of either getting said no to or nothing changing. They kind of just like gave up.
I guess I can answer this question too. Yeah, I came in as a transfer student. I already had a degree, but I had to spend my GI Bill. But yeah, I felt like I was just thrown in there. Like the freshman, it was, I don't know, I was kind of, well, I mean, it was kind of a shock to me coming to Haskell because I went to your traditional, I hate to say it, white college, you want to say, education. And, just then being around, I thought it was going to be like being at a HBC, like a historical Black college when I got there, but just, native. But to be honest with you guys, I think most of my friends, especially on my social media, mostly people I went to Haskell with or that went to Haskell, that end up learning a lot. Oh my God, here's my interruption. Okay. Okay. What I was saying, they said through, and Keaton, you remember heard some people that we was friends with said they learned a lot, like just being around as far as like the Black side. And especially now that being that it's Black History Month, I have a lot of people like asking me questions and stuff, trying to relate. And some of them said that they just been around us, they kind of see like when they went back home, that's been around their family that's kind of like don't understand Black folks. Mm-hmm. They start to look at their family members like differently now, like dang, like, and they even some of the things they're like, man, I didn't realize how racist I was until I met you. Now look at they had that perception of us and stuff. And
well, I think that found it interesting because you get used to being followed around in the store. It just happens. So you kind of out. And then when you bring other people with you and they go with you, like, that person's following you. I mean, I guess, I don't know. And then they want to like go confront them. It's like, you can't do that with every person that you
Yeah, I had a couple people like that at Haskell too. I had to kind of, hey, you gotta pick your battle. You can't do that. We outnumbered right now. You can't do that right now. But okay, if nobody else had nothing on that other question, we'll go to the second one. Next one is what is something you would like to see change at Haskell?
Ooh, more Black staff. At the schools I was at before, the Black people were either the basketball coach or they were like outside doing maintenance. And so, like here at Bacon, two of my professors are Black Indians, and they're real positive role models. And there wasn't really that sense of identity there. It was either you were native or white native. And so we didn't really have any urban role models to really reference.
I agree with that. Also, I feel like they kind of gave up when it came to student activities and trying to get us to do things. And it was the same thing every week where we could have done, like at my first semester there, we used to do more stuff. We would go to the zoo, we went to the bowling alley, they went to Legends. I think they went to, what's that amusement park called there?
Worlds of Fun.
Worlds of Fun. And then like my last semester, we were barely going to the movies. We didn't get any more tickets to the KU games or anything. I was like, what are we doing with the money that we're spending? We're not doing anything.
And yeah, no, I totally agree. You know, hiring more Black staff. I mean, when we were there, Terrence, I think we had one professor. She was adjunct over in the Ash department, and I was just thinking about her a couple of days ago, because now that I'm a teacher, I get to teach my kids here, Black History Month, but also you can tell them, people that made impacts on my life. She was definitely one of them, and it sucks because I really can't remember her name, and if I wish I could reach out to her now and just tell her thank you, because she's one of the people that broke those kind of barriers. But not just that, but I think for some of the stuff that's there, training on how to deal with other people of other races and things like that, those kind of things. There's a lot of I'm just gonna say it, but there's a lot of anti-blackness that does go on there, and I'm just gonna say it, being a grown man, and I got this platform to say it. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. Me and Russell have never met, but I got to read his story. I got to hear his story, and his story, isn't the only story like that. I remember driving. I remember not security, but the maintenance dude literally illegally parking in front of me, cutting me off, getting out of his car. And he's not an authority figure to be telling me to get out my car in the middle of traffic while classes are going on, but I still get out because he's an older person, so I'm gonna listen to him. So I get out. He's asking me what am I here for. My job been going to the school for about 4 or 5 years now, and I work for the school. But for him to have done something like that, and then to leave there in 2017 and here in 2018, a couple friends who are still going there are in the parking lot, and then all of a sudden the cops surround him, start searching their car, nothing in there, but it's because the maintenance man, they were looking suspicious in the parking lot. So there's a lot of that I think people just need to be trained. Also, just on how to talk to people, just the decency of having respect for people of other color.
Diversity training, and it always feels worse when it comes from your people.
Yes.
Some of the teachers are that way too. Like you notice when you're in a class, they would pay more attention to some students than they would the other ones, or they weren't willing to help you as much as they were with the other students. I had a couple teachers like that too, or they made me feel stupid because I didn't really know that much about certain tribes. Mind you, yes, I go to Haskell, but I didn't grow up in Native community. I'm a military brat. We moved around all the time.
Yeah, man, I agree with you on that in the classroom. I got a couple of stories on that too, but
hey, it's your platform.
Yeah, I'm hoping it ain't that same person that maintenance guy. I'm thinking it's the same person, but I don't know if you remember. I had 2 vehicles. I was at Haskell. I had a Tahoe and I had a Charger. Yeah, I remember him coming up to me in the parking lot. I mean, first thing he asked me was like, "Whose car you got?" And I just looked at him like, "What?" He said, "Well," he said, "Do you go here?" He said, "You look suspicious." He told me straight up, I look suspicious. And of course, I'm looking right there at my little Haskell parking sticker. And, yeah. So and I asked him, I wanted to blow up at him, but I asked him, I said, "How do I look suspicious?" I knew what he was hinting to. But he actually came out and said, he said, "We get a lot of black drug dealers to come around on our campus and stuff like that." But honestly, as soon as he said that, I wasn't even mad no more. I mean, he confirmed what I knew he was thinking. I wasn't even mad at him no more. I mean, I showed him my ID and stuff, but at the same time, I did ask him, like, who are you to question if I go here or not, though? I mean, what authority do you have? You just maintenance. Not putting you down or anything, but you just maintenance.
And I think what it is, it really just comes to the fact that, we know how hard we've worked to get to where we at.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a slap in the face, whenever we get questioned on why we're there. What are we doing there?
Russ, when it comes to your own people, it hurts. I mean, it's like, dang. Like, you in the same boat. I mean, I know you looking at me as black. Let's just be honest. But you don't. Did you realize you're in the same boat we in? Believe it or not. I mean, granted, we're the only race that didn't migrate here by choice. But it seems like me, the experience. Well, go back to the experience. I just got the impression that it's okay to be, if you are multicultural, it's okay to be Native and white. But if you're Native and black, it's kind of like the one drop rule applies within the Native community too. Like if you got a little bit of black in you, you're black.
Yep. And I think we're really kind of I realized, you know what I mean, a change really just needed to be made. And that's why I kind of got on that policies and procedures committee and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Because when I took it too, you go through the chain of command, the right people you're supposed to take it to. And then we get into this meeting. And then the only thing I get out of this meeting is a lesson on colorism, that colorism exists and older people may think it's like, no, that's still not right. Like at the end of the day, what was done to me wasn't right, When I've got the student senate president sitting right there, doing this just to me, like what the hell is he doing to you? Like why is he doing this? When he's on my side, looking at this like what the hell? And same thing, and I'm not saying that person's racist. And I'm like, heck, he gave tickets to everybody on campus. Heck, everybody was getting tickets from the guy, but it was some of those him trying to do those above and beyond things he was doing. That weren't truly one above and beyond. Security also the same way. Security, they try to take their job a little away too over the role of security, and it's a lot of like policing sometimes. Or like when we had our first healing week, and we had clearance from the president of the Haskell, everything, to be in the TP all night, to be doing our hang-ins and everything. And dude comes over there and comes in there and basically just hassles us the whole time, telling us we shouldn't have been in there. It's past curfew, and we told him no, we got permission.
That's one of the big problems I think Haskell had, though. It wasn't just that, but it was like the lack of communication between all of the departments. I mean, the president said something, but they don't tell anyone else. So then it's just like, well, what do you want us to do? We got the yes from this person, but you're telling us no.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And especially because I was an employee too, so it was a pain because we wouldn't find out till the day of or after something had already happened that they were allowed to do it or weren't allowed to do it. And then you have to deal with like security or police. Sometimes they would show up and we wouldn't even know they were there.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, yeah, I gotta be sitting here thinking of things I went through there. But I missed the whole. Cause Keaton, I'm supposed to have been in your graduating class because of a issue that it was a lie, but I had to sit there and fight it for it. And Miss Lovato helped me out too. A whole year. That's why I missed the whole year. I had to come back for that, just that one semester, just so I can graduate. But I mean, I'm glad I did. I mean, I wouldn't change. Honestly, I wouldn't change nothing I experienced or went through at Haskell, because I mean, I learned a lot more about myself too.
Yeah, I would.
But
I won't change a lot.
We had a couple teachers too, and I don't know about female, but we had some male teachers that if you were a female or if you were a minority, they were just like you were nothing.
oh wow.
They didn't come back. We were fighting because we were writing. We like full of petition stuff to get them, but it took a while to actually get the teacher to leave.
I was lucky enough to have the support of my professors in that regard. So, I mean, my in-class experience was amazing, but it was anything else. And between my professors and Curtis, I don't think I would have made it through. The staff at Curtis, they were pretty awesome. So that was one of the true highlights of my day. Outside of that, I got a limited conversation for sure.
Yeah, I could honestly say 3 of my professors, Miss Lovato being one of them, is pretty much the reason why I got through. Because it was times I actually wanted to be like, you know what, I already got a degree anyway. I don't even know why I'm here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm glad I stuck it through. But it's just like you said, I think it's a lack of communications throughout the department and understanding of other cultural backgrounds. Because I mean, I still feel within the Native community, they still have that perspective of us like everybody else does about Blacks. They go by what they see on TV, the stereotype of us. And that's something that's hard to shake. Because I get it. I mean, I'm 3 different cultures, but I get it from all 3 sides.
Did you figure you're already at a disadvantage because the first thing they see is your skin tone? It doesn't matter if you're doing something else. You look black, so you're black.
It was funny, actually. The first 2 weeks of my first semester at Haskell, actually, my hair was like, it was actually pressed myself, but I had it pulled back because I cut it because I had to leave to go do a film, and they paid me to cut it because I wasn't gonna cut it, but I only had it down one time. It was in Curtis, and one person referred to me as something else other than black. And the first thing probably said, "Are you?" They said Pacific Islander. I'm like, actually, I am. But it's only a few people that actually remember my hair was that long. I said it was only like that for like the first 2 weeks. But other than that, another issue I had too was people were shocked that I knew how to speak Cheyenne, Cherokee, and Samoan. And I actually got like, I actually caught little, trying to think of the word to say just because of that. Like, well, did you learn that on, what's that thing on the internet, whatever you can, that language thing? Yeah. Like, what? Yeah. I was like, oh my God. Like, no, I said, believe it or not, I actually, grew up around all three cultures. Like, my parents made sure of that. But I still got I said, no, I'm fluent in all three. I don't, but, okay.
For me though, that Curtis staff, like you said, man, big shout out to them because no, they honestly are. You know what I mean? They do everything. They smile. They you know what I mean? They talk to you like you're one of their own. And then to them professors, not just Rhonda, but Brent, Dwayne, they helped me along the ways. Miss Good Fox, Marisa Mendoza, Missy Hall, that whole AIS crew. Like I really wouldn't be where I am today without them. But you do meet some of those people who like you said, you don't have that good experience with, who kind of, you know what I mean? They could ruin that experience, just with that one thing, just by whatever they came and did to you that day. But
that teacher you was talking about, it's on the tip of my tongue. I'm gonna say her name, Rich. I know you're talking about. Wasn't it like Miss Nunn?
Yeah, it was Miss. It wasn't Gloria Noon, but it was something Nunn. But yeah, that is.
I've been racking my brain since you said that too. I'm like, oh, what is her name?
She was awesome, man. She was like my actual first black professor. I had my first black Canadian professor I've had, and she was really, really kind. Always had something kind to say. Always had something to brighten up your day.
Yeah.
I don't think I only had 3 female teachers, but the science department is so small at Haskell anyway that you have the same 3 professors the whole time that you're there. And that's if they offer the classes. Half the time you have to take classes at KU and offer the classes at Haskell. That's a whole other thing, trying to be a native student and black and go to KU, because then they're already upset that you're native because they think you're freeloading and taking KU classes. Although if they don't realize that you're native, they just think you're a black person and it's like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, mine, when I took classes over KU, was, you on the football team? Why can't I just be a regular student?
Well, I hope not, because their football team sucked.
Yeah, I wasn't claiming that. They would have said basketball. I'm like, yeah, I'm red shirt this year. Okay, what advice would you give to future multiracial students coming to Haskell?
I would say you need to explore, because I didn't really find out what I was good at or what I really liked until I started joining different clubs, until I joined like I became an ambassador. I became the president of the dorm council. We started actually doing things to get more involved so you get to meet more people and learn about their experiences and where they came from. I said, but sometimes if you don't do that, you're kind of in this bubble and then you're not socializing, and you need to socialize in order to get through staying at Haskell. Because like Russell said, that sometimes if you don't, you're just kind of like, you only talk to those 2 people and then that's it. And your experience it's unbearable. And I would also just kind of stick it out, because at the end of the day, you're going to end up with something that will help you out in the long run.
I'll say, like Rhea said, don't be afraid to jump out there, experience new things when you get there. We all come from different backgrounds. So it's like, I mean, it's like, it's a good thing, soak all that in, get into the culture, learn your culture, learn different stuff.
But also don't be afraid to share your culture with everyone else. I think that's one of the biggest things, is that you feel like you can't share your culture, and you should be able to do something like that.
Yeah, I agree with you because it's a melting pot. I mean,
Mhm.
majority of the people I know now, it's like they're not married to somebody in their tribe. They with like another tribe, and like the person I'm with, like it's. I mean, some of our beliefs ain't gonna like kind of clash a little bit, but at least she understands. I mean, we got a mutual understand because certain things they do that I don't agree with, but I still kind of semi participate just out of respect. But I ask for the same thing in return. But yeah, like you said, I agree with you, man. I
From
mean,
different parts of the country too. So it's not like you're all from this one area. Like I'm from the East Coast. We do things a lot different than people they do in the Midwest.
yeah,
I'll say it was an adjustment in a sense that I thought it was almost disrespectful that a lot of students wouldn't speak or make eye contact. Then I had to learn that in certain tribes, like that's just how they're raised. And so I'm like walking around like, bro, these little disrespectful MFs. Like, man, can't nobody say hi. So as an older non-traditional, I think it'd be harder to give someone that advice. But as I was just trying to take it all in, it was quite the adjustment. But it was nice to see Black people that were able to mix, even though most of them were in sports, so they had teammates that they could kind of be around. So, so I was a little more isolated in that sense. So I didn't really get that much camaraderie. So, right. So for me, I wouldn't have a lot of, I guess, pertinent advice, but I mean, like you said, get involved in groups. That's really the only way that you can, meet people in that setting.
That's the reason why I became an ambassador. Because when you're an ambassador, you get to meet all the new students that are coming in. So you get to be a part of welcoming them into Haskell, and then maybe you'll find something that you can click with too, so you can just add it to your friend group. Lori asked the question of experience with other students. Most of the students at Haskell, I mean, at least they're kind of all the same in the sense that you're going to school, you want to hang out with people you want to hang out with. You go to the bars, you watch the basketball games, we cheer for our team. It's just like a community. I mean, every once in a while people have fights and stuff, but that's life.
Yeah, no, honestly, what she said is it's a community. It really is its own, little mini res. We all know each other. Everybody don't get along, but it's just how it is in life. But at the same time, you do meet your core group. I'm gonna say you click with your core group that become more than just those friends that you do take along. Where you share those times where you struggle together. And you had to get through that. Like if it wasn't, there was nights, man. If it wasn't for Clyde and TJ, man, I don't know where I'd be, because they were my they were supporting us. That's two full bloods right there. But they were supporting me the whole time. If it wasn't for Keenan when I first got there, Keenan, world turner, he grew up in Crow Creek. He grew up on the reservation. Half Black, half Native, and like he probably gave me the best advice ever, which is just be myself. And, I remember the first time I got here and I was asked, how come you don't act Black? And, what I mean? It's like, what is acting Black? And then then you remember it's that perception thing, and it's that whole what I've been told or what I've been seeing. So if all I see on TV, if all I've watched in life was Boys in the Hood, Men's Society, and that's what I think that all Black people do is, you know what I mean? And it's ugly perception, but you meet that group that looks beyond the perception. You know what I mean? You guys bond over a lot of the different stuff that you like to do in your spare time. You know what I'm saying? So,
And so it's not just that though. It's that when you are a Black person, you learn to code switch. You have to.
Yep.
I said, especially like I said, I grew up in the military. We moved around all the time. You have to code switch if you're going to adapt. Otherwise, you're going to be miserable. Eventually, you can start showing pieces of yourself when you realize you're comfortable around those people. But in the beginning, you're not really sure how they're going to respond to you.
Yeah.
She said about training people. I think training to support all students, not just Black Native students, because there are some students that weren't just Black, they were also Native or they're white. They should be a support group for either all, like to have a Black one, have a white one, have a Native Mexican one, or have or Alaskan, or some people that were, I think people were Hawaiian natives too, or just have one that everyone can be invited to and talk about their problems. But training, because some students too when you're already riled up, it's hard to kind of calm down or get the other person to see what you're saying. So I think there should be training on both fronts, how to de-escalate situations, but specifically the staff, because sometimes they make the situations worse.
Yeah.
But in all fairness, as youth are definitely less communicative these days, it's really hard to get them out of that shell of being like a recluse or an introvert. So
That's the responsibility of the staff, like especially in the dorms. It is our responsibility to make sure that you become more engaging, that you're not stuck in there. You're supposed to be engaging what's going on around that you have on campus. I said, if you're not doing that, then you're not really doing our job, which is why we need dorm councils to make sure that we're checking in on students, make sure they're okay, both mentally and physically, and that they are surviving and thriving.
And again, as a non-traditional student, it's definitely different. I mean, that's a huge minority in itself. So it's hard to get, them to interact. I had a small group that I clicked with, but it took a while. It didn't happen. Oh, in all fairness, too, as COVID did happen, I felt that I was starting to build more rapport on campus as I was, being seen more and being in the gym more, and what have you. But like I said, COVID's kind of put the brakes on all of that. So I didn't get the same experience as you guys.
Let me ask y'all this. That's out of the blue. Okay. When each one of you guys got to Haskell, how long did it take you to actually people to start talking to you or socializing with you? I'm gonna go last. Mine's was funny. I mean,
and for me, it wasn't long. I mean, my roommate. I mean, you talking about when I got there, I was living in Kansas City like a whole semester before then. So I'm as urban as it gets. I get there, my roommate comes from down in where do you go, Navajo Pine. Went to school down there. So I don't know if that's Arizona or New Mexico, but it's down in one of the two.
New
So
Mexico.
He went there. And then I've got and then my other two best friends, one comes from Holdenville, Oklahoma, Seth Deer, and then I got Keenan, who's all the way from Crow Creek, So we just found, and Travis, Minnesota. So we just found different ways to bond, to break the ice. It's college, so it's easy to find different stuff to do to break.
The first people I really spoke to when I got to Haskell with, like I said, the ambassadors and then some of the students. And then I started people watching. I would wait because, we have the common areas in the dorm and stuff. So I would sit in there and just watch, see like kind of where you can mesh with people. And then I kind of forced myself to do it. Like I said, I became the dorm council president and I was forcing myself and kind of get other people to do things so that you can, because a lot of people stay in their rooms. You got to figure out a way to get them to kind of acclimate and interact with one another. So we started doing movie nights. We had like cookouts constantly at OK Hall. It was just, and then once I started doing that, I don't know if they started approaching me or if I started approaching them. And then it was just from there, it kind of happened.
So as I went there to play golf, our golf team wound up being just two people, myself and a gentleman named Lane. So as he was the only person I really interacted with, I think it was maybe 2 months in before another student actually interacted with me, and it was Markland. And ironically, it was like we had a speaker coming, and so he needed a paper from that speaker. And so it really wasn't a bond, but it was like the first non-golfer to speak to me. And then over time, we started speaking more, but it was just like that. Like outside of my professors, like I had two people that I spoke with. Like that was, so it was just still kind of a lonely feeling in a sense.
I didn't really feel, I don't know if accepted is the right word. I want to say until my third semester when I actually found something that I wanted to do and I was more comfortable with the Haskell environment, that I started noticing that I was able to interact with people more. But like my first semester, I was following my roommate around because I didn't know anybody. And then she knew. And then from there, it was like, okay, well, now I can meet more people and it's okay for me to interact with other people.
Yes, I was told it took like 2 or 3 months before people actually really started talking to me. Because when they did, it was always like, man, I always wanted to approach you, but you look mean. But a lot of people didn't know at that time that I had cancer and I was going through chemo. On top, I had a load because the first 3 semesters I was there, I had 21 hours. I had I took 4 classes at Haskell and 3 at KU. And then, like I said, on top of doing chemo, it took a minute to realize I was like, because I saw people just wasn't social at first. And I was kind of like, okay, well. But that's the first thing, like once people start talking to me, that's the first thing they tell me. Man, I always want to talk to you, but man, you look so mean. I'm like, dang.
I met more people as an RA than I did as a regular student, and it was weird. I didn't understand like how you want to approach me now that I work here, but when I was just a regular student, it couldn't happen.
Yeah.
Shows you're human.
Huh?
Shows you're human when you're in that position.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times I got in trouble a couple times too, because there were like 6 or 7 students just chilling in the office wanting to talk, which is fine because it's not like they weren't allowed in there, but it can be a distraction sometimes.
Yeah, I didn't know how to treat you when you was in that position too. Like, okay, I know she's doing a job, but is she still?
Yeah, man, you used to come to my office every day. I used to deal with this guy every day. Oh, but no, man. In all reality, though, to branch off of this subject, I can remember, when I got there in 2011, I could name all the Black students there on both hands, like for real. I could, not including myself. But I can name all the ones there. So, it's like those, people like Lauren Kelly and Jarrell McCann, Justin McGee, the ones, rest in peace to him. Them guys opened up the doors for me, Johnny and them. Because them guys, I saw stick it out, get that degree. I also saw them being involved in different things, and they were like, they were really involved, if it wasn't for people like that. And then, Malcolm Coleman too, like them guys really opened up doors for me to where, later on down the line, when I'm working in the vice president's office, some of the people who need help, versus, whatever they need, eligibility, basketball players, whatever, I can help them out. I'm in a position to help people out now. But now later on down the line, you got people like Peanut, Aram, them kind of guys who, I never realized I was, opening up these doors for them, doing the stuff I was doing until you leave and then you really see kind of, if you failed, whatever you started, it failed off, did it go right? I'm thinking of, me, Terrence, Marcus, Barron,
Ryan.
Orion. That's almost an all Black crew. Besides,
Dang,
how many were that opening crew? We started the first, chapter for SNAG over there at Haskell, and it was close to an all Black like group that started it.
Yeah, and Cowboy.
And but things like that, being put in position to do stuff like that, I love every bit of that kind of stuff because at least we left something for somebody else to pick up, and carry on like that.
I know one of the biggest things that I ended up doing is helping people just do basic like laundry, basically like doing laundry or learning how to cook. That was one of the biggest things I kept doing constantly.
I think I was the Haskell Uber. I don't know how many people I took to Walmart or to Legends and didn't ask for gas money. I actually want to see if they offer it. So it depends what kind of relationship I had with them. Like if I knew their situation, like they really couldn't, I wouldn't ask. But some people, I know, like I'm gonna see if they're gonna offer it. Because I would, like, if somebody gave me a ride, I'd just, but I didn't mind. Sometimes I didn't mind doing it because I understood most people's situation. A lot of them coming from the reservation and they really ain't got much. So I didn't mind doing it. But some people took advantage of that. 2:00 in the morning, can't go to Walmart, wait 8 hours. Like, because first when I was there, like I said, I kind of kept my health on a low, but sometimes I had to come out and say, hey, look here, man, I got chemo in the morning. Hey, I can't do it right now. But like I said, I had a few take advantage of me and I knew it, but I still kind of overlooked it. Like in the long run, I hope they appreciate it. But
after you struggle.
Yeah. Dang, Keith, I just thought about that, man. It was pretty much almost all Black. I didn't think about it till you said that. I was really thinking too, like, oh man, damn, it was, wasn't it?
No, but sometimes I actually forgot that we had female sororities on campus. But you always heard about the fraternities because, while we did have a couple of chapters, you didn't really hear about them doing anything.
Yeah.
And I went to like 2 meetings, different ones, and it didn't really feel like family. It felt kind of like a competition.
Yeah, it was actually 2 sorority on the.
Yeah, there
I didn't know
was.
about the other one. I really didn't know about the other one. It was
I
only
knew
like
about
girls.
both of them, but I don't like when you go to talk to someone about just to feel them out to what they're about, and they start like insulting the other groups. I'm like, well, why would I want to join?
Yeah, that's low.
Like, what about you? I want to know about you. I don't care about them. What's going on?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. The reason why the snag fraternity started on Haskell, Keaton. I mean, I approached them about it. It was 2 Black students. I'm gonna say call them Black because that's what it was viewed as. We tried to join the other fraternity, and I witnessed the way they got treated when they was trying to join interest in it. So they eventually approached me about first they wanted to start one, like a new one of their own. But I found out about the other Native American fraternity in Oklahoma, and I reached out to their chapter president, and that's how we got that one started. But it was because, and I hate to say it was because they wouldn't let them join because they was Black. I mean, I'm just going, it's. I don't get mad thinking about it because I remember like just watching like how they was being treated, but it was because it was Black, and that's when I approached Keaton and the other ones about it would be interesting because we had to have I think 9 to start it, and that's how Snag got there on Snag. That's how I got started. That's how I got started at Haskell because everybody thought I was because I hung out with the Qs over at KU at the bowling alley. Was it Wayne and Larry's? Wayne and Larry's? Is that the bowling alley? Wayne and Larry's? Okay.
Uh-huh.
Let's get to some of these chat questions.
Yeah, I was looking at it.
Yeah, I just popped up. Who's Jared? Jared want to ask.
No, John.
Yeah,
John.
the guy, he's on there.
John.
I'm sorry, man. I'm trying to multitask here.
I'm trying to figure out, is it like my experience of being Native and Black in general, like out in the world, or just being Native and Black at Haskell?
Well, that's the last question right there. But
also wants us to compare to other mixed races. So he's that part. So he wants us to he wants to know if his experience was different than our experience. And
I feel like every experience is different depending on the person, because even though you are Black, you may be, and it's kind of hard to explain, but I think you guys understand what I'm saying, where each Black person is different. They're not all the same, so they're going to go through different things.
Yeah. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, no. She's right though. It's like a different, we all got different backgrounds. We all come from, so we all see things kind of different. We don't see everything the same.
It's like something that may offend me may not necessarily offend Keaton or Terrence, but it could. It depends on. It really does depend on like who you are as a person and where you come from.
Well, being on the golf team of 2, being myself and then Lane, who was a white Indian, it was comedy. I mean, it was like the perfect storm because as we go to different venues, it's something that Lane could see and identify, like the cold shoulders or the short answers. Him getting more treatment better treatment from the interim coach at certain events. I mean, it was sad, but like I said, it was comedy because it's like you couldn't, who writes this, So, and it's just one of those, see, here we go again type things. So it was sad that I got used to it. But that, and like I said, that's like the biggest platform where there was an obvious cultural difference, as they didn't know that, as he was a Choctaw and what have you, they just saw me and they saw Lane. And so, it made for funny stories on the ride home for sure.
Hey, let me ask you guys this. Oh, go ahead. What were you saying?
I sometimes you feel like you're prepared for it because when you grow up, you're like the only Black person in your class, and you just happen to go to Haskell. You're not just you're Native, but you're also the only Black Native person in the class. So it's I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. I don't want to say you get used to it, but you kind of block it out sometimes because you dealt with it every single day. It would drive you crazy.
You grow immune.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, let me ask you this then. Since you said that, did any one of you, when y'all was in class, like, did you gravitate towards if you seen another Black Native in there? go sit with them or sit near them or?
Depends on the person.
Just not with the homies.
Nah.
I just thought my friends. I ain't gonna lie.
At least for like my degree,
I was cool with.
there wasn't anyone that was Black and Native in my degree, I think, until my last semester. But by then they were freshmen, so we didn't have the same classes.
Well, the only one I had in mind was Kelly Warrior, and yeah, I was.
But
right
also,
there with him.
I mean, Terrence, you was in AIS. You know, what I mean, AIS is kind of different. Like, it's kind of like a big family when they get in there. The way they do treat each other. You know, what I mean, you just because like a cohort, so you stuck with the people you come in with for years and years, so you get used to each other. So,
Yeah.
I mean, one day I'm sitting next to Michael James. You know, next day I might be sitting next to, I don't know, I might be sitting right next to Michael. You know, right next to Michael Stewart and getting that lesson in there. You know, so I didn't really gravitate to anybody. It was just I sat next to you.
Yeah, I did. I was like that the first one. I loosened up. I started, you know what? Actually, I got to thank you. Actually, I started like watching you and how you like integrate, because you was there longer than I was. And I said, then I started opening up. But when I realized it took for me to get over like people being afraid of me. I mean, you can tell when somebody's scared of you or don't know really. Yeah. But I think I let certain people get too comfortable because, you know, the jokes. No, I mean, you know, and I had to teach them like it's certain lines you don't.
Or some of them don't even realize that it's offensive.
Yeah, I had to let them know like, yeah, like that. I mean, it was still was offensive, like, but you might say that to the wrong person. Mm-hmm. And being that, you know, a lot of you guys go to Tonic and downtown Mass. I mean, you might meet somebody from Kansas City, a Black. The way you joke with me, you can't necessarily joke with them like that, like, because, you know, it's like you said, it's like we all grew up differently. Like, you don't, certain things you may like let slide, but because I had to do that a couple times. And my boy Cowboy is one of them. I swear to God, I had to teach that boy.
Oh, poor kid.
Hey, we got a clarification on John's question. He said his question is about like the difference in the experience for either at Haskell or in general. So
I feel like I didn't see it as much where I am now because I'm in a military town, so there's a lot of different races here. But when I went to Kansas, like I said, we were walking through Walmart and I was constantly getting followed. That you block it out, but then like I would go with my friends and they would be upset for me because they see that I'm being followed, or you're not being followed, you're asked by 10 different people and you only walk 2 feet. What are you doing? Are you okay?
And like I said, I never got followed at Walmart. I think my experience kind of like that was when I went to that there's that antique mall downtown. Mm-hmm. And on Mass, and I went there and like if you go, I think it's upstairs, it's upstairs, but they got like all those props and all that and all the masks and all that, and they had like a prop gun. I pick up this prop gun and this old elderly white woman comes around the corner and she's like, oh, that's not a toy, sir. And I mean, it's not real either. Like, I ain't stupid. Like, I know the difference. It says prop gun on the tab. Like, I'm not trying to go hold somebody up with this, but
I grew up in Virginia, and it was my sister and I, the only two really biracial kids at the time. But as it was either Black or white, Black people reminded you that you had other. Mm-hmm. You know, they kind of, it was always you were in the circle, but you were in the outer layer of the circle. And so, as I kind of went through life, it's always you just remove the color and insert different ethnicity. So as you go to white people, obviously you're other. Well, the first time I went to the res, I had never been mistreated so much, you know, and to like people just call you city slicker, like, you know, like what the hell. So as you try to find embrace, I kind of felt that same way when I went to Haskell. It was like I walked around with like a sticker that said other, you know, and especially like being older, it was like older other. So it's, you know, you're always on the outside. So as you were saying earlier, Keaton, about being observant, it's easy to observe what's going on and you can see them seeing you because you're kind of on that outer circle, used to being out.
Man, did any one of y'all get accused of being Muskogee Creek, or was it just me?
No, there's a couple of times though. It was like when I told them I was Native, they were shocked by it. And they were like, because I was like, "Where's school?" I was like, "Go to Haskell." You're Native?
Yep.
No, I'll tell you what.
Snuck in.
it was actually one of the commencement powwows, and I don't know where these guys are from, but they weren't even from like Kansas or nowhere. And they were walking, and I mean, clearly they were like talking about me. I was talking with one of my homies, And I was like, holy, you see that guy over there? Like, yeah, it must be full Seminole. And I was like, Christ, man. But I mean, you also kind of pick up on the humor and stuff like that too. So you kind of pick up on, just the little things there. So it wasn't one of them things that was just gonna overly piss me off, versus you came to me, just started talking some crazy nonsense. Sierra's got a question we didn't ask though. We didn't answer.
Okay.
About the more importance of having Black and Native mixed faculty and staff working at Haskell. I say the importance is like what Angela Lindsay Nunn kind of did for me. She opened up what I'm doing now. I have a career because of some of the stuff she did. Watching her, I don't even think I had a class of hers, to be honest. But seeing the way she conducted herself, seeing the way people seeing the way people wanted to be around her. It was just empowering. And she's a Black and Native teacher, but you see full natives, coming to her.
She's Black, Native, and Asian.
Black, Native, and Asian. You see you see students of full, going to talk to her because of the way she spoke to people. She had that respect for people. That's what I kind of.
She had that vibe. That vibe. That vibe, like you can just feel it.
I'm looking at this question, maybe.
But another.
I can't see the questions.
So the question was,
but I want to this another
boundaries. What do you think non-native using the N word?
Right, but they can help us with identity. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I can't speak for every other
identity though.
Black and Native person.
They can empathize with what you're going through, but I feel like even though you have some Native teachers and yes, they've been through stuff, they don't understand like the other half of the coin of what it is to be Black in America, especially being a Black male in America. You don't have those role models too at Haskell. It's not the same. Someone's not supposed to walk up to you, they want to talk to you. They won't cross the street just because they look at you and you look scary, you look intimidating.
Because
I love
Cody Marshall, but there's certain issues that I had. Being a Black male, I couldn't come to them for.
You shouldn't also have to explain to someone all the time what's going on. You should be able to go to someone and they get it.
Rhea, I got a question. I got something to tell you. I took Coral to the Walmart one night, and I knew we was gonna get pulled right when we left the parking lot because they were sitting in the parking lot. They watched me and her walk to the car to my Tahoe, and that back where you go past Menards and stuff.
Yeah.
That's as soon as I turned on that road, if you ever talk to her, I sit there and tell her, like, we're gonna get pulled. I promise. You said why? I like just watch. We're gonna get pulled. And as soon as we turned past Menards, they blew light at me. 8 cops. And my first day at Haskell, when I brought my charger on campus, I got pulled turning in to Haskell by Lawrence PD. And I told him I was a student there, but the cop told me that I looked suspicious. How did I get this car? Whose car is it? And that was the first time I was ever scared to get out of the car. Because I never seen that many police like at one time. There was 8 of them. I was that nervous. Like, man, they gonna, that was during the time when that thing happened in Missouri with what's his name? What was that kid's name? And but she it's like you said, Coral was actually mad. She was more mad than I was. Me, I was like, I hate to say it, I was kind of used to it. Like I expected it because I seen it coming. But she was furious. But she said she never experienced anything like that. And that's why, like, some of the things I experienced racial, like, I think, like, I was happy that I had some people with me from Haskell that got to see it. Because then they said they understood. Like, now I see why you act the way you did when you was in that situation. I was like, I hate to say it, like, being Black in America, like, it's actually dangerous. It's the hardest job in them. Like, even today, you think things would be different, but being that I was born in Phoenix, but I lived in LA before we moved to North Carolina, which was a culture shock to me. Because when I was in LA, I was around Blacks and Mexicans. But like Wichita was saying, when we was in LA, people were around the Blacks, it was kind of like, what are you? Because when I do let my hair grow out, it's like big wavy. And I got picked on because of the hair, like, oh, you think you got that because you got the Indian hair, or you just think oh my God. And then from the Native side, it was like, within my own family, ones that's full and stuff, they kind of looked at us like, like how whites like, like they kind of thought it was disgusting because we mixed with black. Like you got black in you. Like we was treated different than the ones that other people in our family that actually was just all native, you know? And I mean it sucks, but it's a reality.
I learned to pull over before the lights came on. It makes it easier.
But then none of y'all, I swear, it's like just seemed like I went through more with the police and like more racial than I thought y'all had some stories too.
I've only been pulled over twice in Lawrence.
My police stories come from the res cops. Res cops live to mess with me when I'm in my charges. So I feel you. It's something about black men in charges.
But when they told me to get out, when I got out, I was told to get back in because I was taller than everybody. This is not get back in. He said I was a threat. I'm like, Jesus Christ.
I'll tell you, I first got my car 2 years ago, my Charger, and probably 2 days after getting a brand new car, I get pulled over. First thing cop does is he don't ask me, what normal cops do, license registration. Dude just says, "Can I check your car?" Hell no, you can't check my car. You can't check my car. If you don't know your proper procedures and policy, don't come over this way.
Say, what happened to license and registration? Like he asked me where I get this car from. Okay, let me ask you this real quick. Let me ask y'all guys this real quick. I'm sorry, I missed the question. It was if you could give advice to the Haskell Indian Nations University administration, what would it be? What would you tell them?
Be more inclusive from people coming from different backgrounds. And then if you see some students that are struggling, reach out to them. Don't just wait to see if they come to you because they probably won't.
Yeah.
Or out of your way to be nice.
Yeah, I mean, just show a little compassion, respect makes this world go round. And then, do what we've been telling our kids for years, man, do the right thing and treat others how you want to be treated.
Because, so what has everybody's experience since they left Haskell, like off?
But
I can anyway, but
I know I got pulled over in like the height of the Black Matters movement last summer, and I was like panicking. And then of course it was like a white sheriff that pulled me over. I'm like, oh my God, and you kind of like think of everything that what you did, what you didn't do, like what's going on, who was going to ask you. And it's just.
Hey, we got to address this question about the N-word.
Native.
I don't think anyone should be able to say it. And the only reason I say that is because if you allow yourself to say it, other people think it's okay because some people think they get a pass. They don't realize that pass may just apply to that specific person, not everyone else, because you say it to the wrong person, you're getting yourself hurt.
My brother did
it.
That's one thing too. Like if I got angry or passionate about something, I became the stereotypical angry Black woman. So
I was getting
there's a couple students where you gotta.
There's boundaries. I think it comes from.
My brother did an internship there a few summers ago, and as he got tired of hearing it, he went to Dr. Wildcat, and then all of a sudden he became the bad guy because he wanted to enforce, the respect that he deserved, and so it left a sour taste in his mouth, and so and I didn't know this till after I got there, but as I heard the word a lot, it was a bit offensive. Especially hearing it more from natives than Black natives.
Well, that's the one thing that I found interesting is that I heard it more from natives than I did from Black natives. And it was excessive. It wasn't like maybe once in a sentence, it's like every other word.
It was like punctuation.
Yeah. All down the hallways, I heard it a lot too. And I had to stick my head out
like, who are you talking to?
Yeah. Like,
well, you can't say that word because I'm native. I said, the word has nothing to do with you.
They're like, Terrence, is it cool? Is it cool? Is it cool? No. Like, nah, man. I don't even say it. So,
yeah. Be like, well, can I say it? And I was like, would you ask someone else if you could say it if it wasn't me?
Yeah.
No, then your answer is no. You can't say the word.
Around the water cooler with your peers.
Like, hey, no.
Man. I don't know.
It's in a lot of songs and it's in movies and stuff, but.
Well, you skip over that song. Yeah, you skip over that singing it. So I had a couple in the car too on our way to, dropping the N-word. I'm sitting there driving like, you gotta be kidding me.
All right, so we gotta answer this last one for time. So some advice for future Black and Native students. be yourself when you get there. I mean, and just do you. I mean, Haskell is what you make it. You know what I mean?
It is. You gotta
Yeah.
embrace. You gotta embrace who you are, and don't be afraid to share who you are with somebody else.
Yeah, just be yourself. I mean, like, I know Haskell's a Native American school, but I mean, don't ignore your other half too,
Yeah.
or they're like, don't, because you're not being true to yourself if you're ignoring just the. Cause I'm proud to be what I am. I love it.
Yeah, same. You know what I mean? If I wasn't proud to be who I am, I couldn't get up every morning and go teach my classroom full of tribal kids. You know what I mean? My kids are all tribal members, and I get, you know, I mean, that's the
You
beautiful
know what?
thing is I get to teach a
About
classroom
that.
full of tribal members, you know, and I get to share with who I am. You know, what's up?
That's what I was going to ask you. I'm glad you said that. How did the parents, your students' parents, how do they view you? Being that I'm gonna go ahead and assume that they assume you're a black teacher coming to the reservation.
Yeah. Of course. You know, when I first get there, everybody thinks I'm, you know, just a black guy. But I love that shirt. But that's when, you know, TJ told me, he's like, hey, you gotta tell your story. You gotta let them know, you know, you're just not just this black guy when you walk in a room and you got some more in you. You know, I tell them the story, you know, I let them know who I am, all this. And the parents, they, you know, what I found out this year is virtual learning kind of made this no, I can answer this question. I got parents that literally sit in the classroom with their kids and watch me teach them. And you know, I get messages from them all the time. You know, they love my class, they love what I'm teaching their kids. You know, my boss. I was scared to teach Black history because, like, you know, growing up, like we didn't really taught, you know, a lot of the stuff.
And even the history that we are taught is a lot of is whitewashed. So it's not like.
So you know, I'm not. You know what I'm saying? I'm dead scared. Like I don't want to mess up the history. But then again, these kids never got this kind of history.
Yeah.
So they learn, you know, they get to learn about Ruby Bridges, but not only that, you know, I'm teaching them about the bombings out in Alabama, you know, the church bombing, and they get to learn about all this stuff and to see how they can relate to it, you know, see like how, because I started off also, you know, showing them how natives were discriminated against too. So now they can bring both together and they can just see, they use my class, you know, to see that how to treat people better. You know, it's a classroom of learning how to treat people versus just a typical social studies class. It's more like, you know, we're learning how to, you know, respect people and learn new cultures, you know, take these risks, learn life, stuff like that.
Hey, well, y'all, go ahead and wrap it up, man. I'd like to thank our panelists for, you know, taking time out of their day to do this, and also would like to thank the Indian leader for putting this on, and all our online viewers that's watching this and stuff. If you have any more questions, I mean, please blow up the Indian leader and Ms. Lovato if you have any more questions that you want to ask us.
To another panel. I mean,
yeah. I mean, if y'all want to do another one, I am too.
Do another panel, you know, answer some more questions. And just, yeah, big shout out to the Indian leader. Everybody down at Haskell, you know, too many people to name, but you know who you are. If you help me along this journey that I'm on and where I'm at today, you know, I want to thank all you guys, love you guys, and wish you guys all the best, you know.
Well, yeah. my experience left me with a saying, instead of onward to Haskell, I've been saying backwards Haskell. So hope someone else feels differently, or everyone else feels differently moving forward. Done.
Yeah.
Is that it? We just
all right. Thank you guys.